All right, let's talk about that moment. You know, the one where you meet someone new, they tell you their name, and then poof, it just vanishes. If that sounds familiar, well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to dig into exactly why that happens to all of us.
So, picture the scene. You're at a party, a work thing, maybe you're just meeting a friend of a friend. You're trying to be cool, make a good impression, just be present in the moment.
You do the whole dance. You shake their hand, make eye contact. They say, "Hi, I'm," and tell you their name. You say your name back. It's a completely normal, everyday thing. But then, literally seconds later, your brain just hits the eject button. It's completely blank. You know you just heard it, but it's nowhere to be found. It is so frustrating, right? But it turns out there's a real scientific reason for it. See, this little brain glitch isn't just a simple slip of the mind. This whole phenomenon actually has a name, and once you know what it is, everything starts to make a lot more sense. So, let's unmask the culprit.
So here's the most important thing I want you to hear right now. Stop beating yourself up about it. Seriously, forgetting a name doesn't mean you're rude or that you weren't paying attention or that your memory's shot. It's a well-documented cognitive quirk.
And that name is Nominal Amnesia. Yeah, sounds a little fancy, but all it really means is the specific brain freeze you get when trying to recall a name. And this part is key. This is not a memory disorder. It's not like forgetting your keys. It's a very particular thing that happens to almost everyone.
Okay, so why? Why names? That's the big question, isn't it? How can we remember someone's face, their job, that funny story they told, but the name just evaporates into thin air? Well, it all comes down to how our brains file away information.
Essentially, a name like David or Sarah is just a random piece of data. It's an abstract label. To your brain, it has absolutely zero context on its own. It doesn't connect to anything you already know, which makes it incredibly difficult to hang on to. And there's this fantastic psychological study that illustrates this perfectly.
It's called the Baker/Baker paradox. Now follow me on this. If I tell you a man is a baker, your brain instantly lights up with associations, right? A white hat, the smell of bread, an apron with flour on it. But what if I tell you his last name is Baker? Your brain has nothing to grab onto. It's the exact same word, but one is full of rich context and the other is totally arbitrary. And that right there is the heart of the problem.
So let's trace the final moments of a forgotten name. First, you hear it. It goes straight into your brain's waiting room, your short-term memory. But there's no hook to hang it on. Your brain doesn't know where to file it. So the neural connection it makes is super weak, really fragile. And before it even gets a chance to move to your long-term memory, it just fades away. But it's not just about how our brains are wired on the inside. The situation you're in plays a huge role. You could say there are a few accomplices in the crime of the vanishing name. I mean, think about it. When you're meeting someone, you aren't just passively listening. No way. Your brain is juggling a million other things. You're thinking about what to say next, worrying if you're making a good impression, processing how they look and their body language.
So what are the biggest culprits here? Well, the number one factor at a whopping 40% is just a simple lack of attention, because your focus is split. Right behind that is cognitive overload. You know, that feeling at a party when you meet 10 people in 2 minutes? Yeah, that. And finally, good old stress and anxiety can hijack your brain's resources, leaving no bandwidth left for actually storing a new name.
So when you put this all together, it's really time to reframe how we think about this. This isn't a personal failure. It's not a character flaw. It's actually a pretty fascinating feature of how our brains are designed to work.
The key thing to remember is that your brain is built for efficiency. It has to prioritize information that's meaningful, information that's connected, and information that's relevant. An arbitrary, random name, unfortunately, just doesn't make the cut on the first pass.
I really love this quote because it just sums it all up perfectly. This isn't about your character. It's about your cognitive architecture. Your brain is this incredible, finely tuned machine, and this is simply one of its default settings. And that's really the question I want to leave you with. The next time you forget a name seconds after you hear it, instead of feeling embarrassed, maybe just take a moment and appreciate the complex, efficient, and, yeah, sometimes frustratingly logical way your brain operates.